Testing, 1, 2, testing.
lights.
Okay, we're good. I guess we're gonna be going green flag here in a minute.
6.
Sir?
6.
Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is our June 11th meeting, and tonight we have with us the Reverend Sigmund from Loyal Free Will Baptist Church, and we'll have him lead us in the invocation. Thank you. Please stand up.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you tonight in humility and humbleness, asking God to be with this meeting tonight. I pray, Lord, that you'll have your way, Lord, lead us and guide us in each and every step of this meeting. Father, I pray that you will be with each and every council member. I pray, Lord, that you will guide us. And Lord, bring us closer together so that we can do the business that this city needs. Father, we pray all of this. We pray, God, that you will move in a mighty way. We're a small city, but Lord, we're a city that wants to see things done. We're a city that wants to grow. We're a city that wants to shine in this county. And God, I pray that you'll lead tonight. For it's in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I'll have the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we adopt the agenda, I got something I want to say. I want to apologize to all the citizens for my behavior the other week when I said a few things I shouldn't have said. But I also have a councilman to my left. He said a few things he shouldn't have said either. So I bought him a bottle of scope because I understand he likes scope. So if you'll pass that down to my council member here, and I apologize, and I'm sure you will too. Yes, sir. For our behavior, our words. If you don't mind, I apologize. And I apologize to you and everyone in this room.
Well, I think I don't know how to react to that, but we're going to conduct business in a professional way. We're going to do it the right way, and we're going to keep it professional at all times. So if this is to cleanse me, that's fine. We're going to move forward in this meeting and this agenda, and I hope that the mayor can stick to the agenda and do the right thing.
I think it's good that, we get off to a fresh start and have things the right way. And I do sincerely apologize. We also have tonight, we got to do the adoption of the agenda for this meeting. We have a motion to adopt the agenda.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Unanimous. This is mine, man.
Bill Knox, 5105 Meadowwoods Drive. Thank you, council members, mayor. I know you guys put in a lot of hard work. Scott, I want to congratulate you on your your award the other day of the top 100 leaders. That's pretty good. I was discussing it with someone, and they made the comment to me that your stock price has gone up. So I'm glad the community kind of embraced that. Couple things. One is on the sewer regionalization plan. Certainly no expert there, but just based on what I saw in all the meetings, the numbers seem to make sense to do it. I know that there's some pride in ownership of our current plant, but I think I'd like to see all the council members move forward with that regionalization. It's a very small amount of money to service that debt, and I think it would be a good thing versus trying to rebuild that plant down the road. Mayor, thank you for your apology. Appreciate that. I think there are a lot of people that are frustrated, and perhaps we're going to head in a new direction. So thank you for that, and just like to see all the council members treat each other with respect, and for the most part, that has always happened. So I want to thank you guys for all the work that you do, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
First time I've ever done this, so please apologize. Thank you, Councilman Mayor. My name is Sandy Caldwell. I'm at 1108 North Main Street. On May 28th, a couple weeks ago, my water got turned off, but my bill was paid on May the 3rd for $67.31. I called the office the next day, and they told me that they turned the water back on, and they told me it was a mistake. And now human error does happen, and I understand that. But then I get a water bill this month where you're going to charge people $5 if they're late. Maybe they got a problem where they can't get paid in time. So tonight I'm asking the city council to get rid of this $5 for the end of the year to help these citizens out for this inflation we got fighting. I mean, human error happens. If the city cut my water off, I can accept that, but can't y'all accept that maybe a single mother or parent may need to pay the bill late because they don't get paid? Because lanes are tight right now. That's a gallon of milk or a gallon of gas for some single parent or the elderly person. So I thank you for your time, but that's all I got to say tonight. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandy, call. I didn't know if I was supposed to check you, so I apologize.
Sandy, can I have that? Appreciate that. Go ahead, next.
Norris Lamb, 1130 Catawba Run Road, Lowell. Well, thank you to Mayor. Thank you for apologizing, and Phil for directing how the meeting should be run. I want to thank our police department, our fire department, and every one of our city employees for the hard work you do every day to make Lowell a safe and enjoyable place to live. I also want to congratulate City Manager on, as did Bill, on being named one of the top 100 government influencers in our area, along with thanking him for his work with the past leaders, as well as what I believe will take place in the future. Some of those things that I see as being assets to our city because of his cooperation, things like gaining the support of other local as well as state representatives, gaining grant money for upfitting as well as acquisitions, and of course securing those acquisitions. Then I ask as well to dovetail on both what the mayor has said as well as what Phil has said tonight, that the current council, the city attorney, mayor, that all of you guys work to keep our meetings both orderly, professional, respectful, as well as productive, whether you have to do it by motion, censorship, or legal consultation. I also believe that the citizens of Lowell not only expect that, but they deserve as much. So thank you guys for your time.
Joe Wilson, 2001 Alton Court. First of all, thank you guys for this kind of opportunity. Not everybody gets to do this sort of thing, talk to their town council. I appreciate you guys, appreciate the mayor, appreciate everybody who comes every week, or every month, goes through all this. I know it's a lot of push and pulling back and forth, but I appreciate everybody here. I just want to talk about a couple things, mainly are centered around change. So Lowell's changing a lot. I know that's hard for a lot of people. I lived here many, many years ago and then moved back about 5 years ago. And it's a lot different city than it was when I moved away. And not always in the best ways, not always in bad ways either. There's just a lot of change going on. But there's one thing that sticks in my mind is the only constant in life is change. So we talk about like dropping taxes and eliminating jobs and things like that. Believe me, I don't want to pay more money in taxes. But at the same time, I don't want to risk losing people's jobs, and I don't want to risk losing services. And that's what ends up happening when you start cutting taxes too much. I'm all for some remediation of it. I'm also for like getting some ideas to figure out what's best for everybody. But I think it should be done in a very, very calm and planned manner versus it just thrown out there constantly, because not every tax dollar means the same thing to everybody. Along those lines, I want to talk about the wastewater treatment plant. We talk about the fact that there's issues with it, and there's talk about that it's an asset versus a liability, et cetera, et cetera. I encourage the council and the mayor and everybody else to accept and move forward with the Seven Rivers Agreement, because while we have a wastewater treatment plant that I believe is roughly 60 years old, and just from a little bit, I too, just like Bill said, I'm not an expert in this by any means. This is not my realm of expertise, and I'll admit that. However, 60 years is a long time for a plant like that. My understanding is 40 to 50 years is pretty much the lifespan on those things. So we are already beyond end of life on that building. I understand upgrades have been done, but a replacement cost of $30 million is a lot of money. And if you do the math, and I did some quick math today, that comes out to $23,000 per household in Lowell. That's the numbers that we need to be worrying about, guys, not the 9% increase coming from Seven Rivers. 9% is $9 a month. It's $108 a year. I don't want to spend an extra $108. I don't think anybody here in this room does. I don't think people really have the money to do that right now. But if it's the difference between having to pay an extra $108 a year or $23,000 per household to have to replace that plant, I got to admit, guys, the smart money here is to actually move on with the regionalization. And the only last other thing I want to say about the change is we got a lot of projects, a lot of parks, a lot of things like that that are getting cut from the budget or getting stopped or whatever. There's a lot of good things going on here, guys. Like, again, the only constant's change. Lowell's going to grow. It has to grow. And the reason why it has to grow is if you keep the same number of people, I believe it's just over 3,700 people right now, over the next, let's say, 10 years, it's inevitable. Costs are going to raise. It doesn't matter if inflation's low or high. Costs are going to raise. If you keep the same amount of people, the tax burden remains on that same amount of people. Their taxes are going to continue to increase. If you allow the growth, you bring new businesses in, you bring in new residential neighborhoods in, that spreads the tax burden out among all the new people. That gives everybody a chance to maybe not have their taxes cut, but maybe you go 3, 4, 5 years without a tax increase. I don't know anybody else in here, but I would love that. But it's those kind of things, guys, that we need to be thinking. We need a forward-thinking group. Lowell's not going to be 1980 Lowell. Lowell's not going to be 1990 Lowell. As much as that might be some people's disdain, that's just a fact. So the only constant is change, guys. But I very much appreciate you all. I appreciate everything. I know this is not an easy job. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name's Ed Jackson. I have various interests here in Lowell. I'm not a citizen, but very involved and pay a lot of tax. I want to commend the mayor on making the apology. I wanted to make a comment that in the last month's meeting, there was a lot of harassment about the manager. You've lost a public works director over that same sort of thing. You don't need to lose a lot of your key people. The manager's not perfect, but the manager's done a lot of good in getting grants and programs and things that were needed here. He needed guidance. You council members have impressed me in that each one of you has an opinion, but you've created a trend of sharing those opinions, comparing, getting information, getting facts, and making the best reasonable decision you can for the good of the whole town. I want to commend you and say keep up the good work and keep us moving in good directions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Sean Bradford from 113 North Pine Street in Lowell. I know a lot of you on the council and mayor, and we've spoke tremendously about taxes and water for years. It seems like everybody's beating the dead horse over and over and over again. I think we all want lower taxes and lower water, and now that we have the opportunity to do it, we're still sitting here talking about lower taxes and lower water. Not to say that I'm an expert or that I have all the answers, but if there's any hesitation that this budget or this vote for the water thing isn't necessarily what you want to do or should do or is what's best for the people, I think that we shouldn't do it, or we should hold up on it. We should find a better way to help the people, the city, And just to put some numbers out there, me and my wife were talking about this on the way up here. I think one of the biggest problems, what people don't understand or realize, is we keep talking about 1% or 3% or 9%, or oh, it's just a little bit, it's just a little bit, it's just a little bit. That little bit is what breaks the camel's back every time. From 2015 to 2023, my property taxes have went up 133.54% in the city of Lowell. 133% for the city of Lowell. My water bill has went up 87.5%. That's an increase of $1,537 on the property tax and an increase of about $40 on the water bill. $2,000. You know, it's just a little bit, but it continues to be just a little bit over and over and over again. I understand that there's a proposal to cut the budget or the taxes by 5%. There's a lot of things that have been defunded, which I think are great. I think you guys are getting a good start, but I think I speak for a lot of people, or at least myself, when I say that we could do better. We could do a lot better. As far as the, just think about it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to continue to beat the dead horse over and over again. But I think we can do better on the budget. I think the water, we could save money by continuing to do what we've been doing and address the issues when we come to the issues down the road. That's just my opinion, some food for thought.
What was your last name?
Bradford, B-R-A-F-F-O-R-D.
Thank you. Who's next? Anyone want to speak? Else?
Candy Funderburk, 600 Robeson Boulevard. When I was on the prior council, we started a tradition when Ricky Bush passed away. We decided to move forward when someone had passed, a mayor or a council member, to get a city flag for the family and then have the family come in here. I know y'all have seen that. Well, we haven't done that. I just wanted to remind you guys, Doc Lowry, he was a mayor, and I don't think y'all have given a flag out, so I just kind of wanted to, I hope y'all will continue that tradition because the families have really appreciated it in the past. Also, the bulk pickup, I've heard that you guys are going to change it from quarterly, which we changed because of the wear and tear on the vehicles and the wear and tear on the guys' public works. They were getting hurt, they were worn out, and the equipment was being worn out. So I wish you guys would rethink, and I really don't know anybody that has bulk pickup every month. I've had it maybe twice in 5 years, but I do appreciate it, and I know everybody does. And if anybody needs to rent the big dump truck, it's $67.75. They bring it out, you fill it up, and they'll come back and they'll take it to the landfill for that. And that's a good thing. And also, I've heard that the chipper's down and 1 or 2 trash trucks are down, so I don't know how we could do bulk pickup every month without our equipment up to par. Okay. And also, a lot of talk out there, the prior council did this, prior council did that. Well, I've got a list right here. I'm going to let you know what the prior council did in the last 8 years. A lot of it. I'm not going to go read everything. We acquired property for the new City Hall and complex from ARPA funds, and people out there, some of you guys are saying that was city local taxes. It was not. ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan Act. We received $1,184,279.70, and to acquire the City Hall complex, which is right beside the Methodist Church, that was $310,418.50. We also purchased the Salvation Boys Club for the first indoor recreation center ever in Lowell by ARPA funds, not city local funds. Of course, it was tax money. We all contribute, but the federal government gave it to us, and they gave everybody across the nation money. That was $494,777.15. We created a full-time Parks and Rec and Events Director position for increased recreation opportunities and events for our citizens. And Christy did a great job as a part-time Parks and Rec, and I wish she would have accepted a full-time, but she did not. Now we do have a great Parks and Rec director. She's really got it going on. If y'all go on the website or on the city Facebook page, there's a lot of activities. Today was pickleball. I was the only one that showed up. It was a good time. It was hot, but we had a good time. We also demolished the chemical plant with a $2 million grant by the state and to begin the redevelopment of a riverfront park and project and new public works facility. We implemented the first ever digital submittal and payment process for permits, site plan reviews, and construction inspections. We hired a second planner to focus on increased code enforcement and decreased turnaround time for customers. We achieved compliance with the state MS4 stormwater permit to avoid potential fines of $62,500 per day by hiring a stormwater administrator and administrating that department. We created the city's first database of geographic information system, GIS, to support all city departments. He began mapping and he completed before he left, that was Todd, the Edgewood Cemetery, and that's a huge asset for our citizens, or anybody that has a loved one. You can go on the website and go to that link, put their name in, and if they're buried out there, it'll pop right up. We also had a CDB grant to remodel several homes in the Ash, Birch, and Clay Street area. I think there was 8 homes at $750,000. Part of that money was for the community center also. We performed master plans for Harold Rankin and Bob Bullock Parks. We received a $1 million grant to redevelop Harold Rankin Park as a $500,000 and a match, and we got that, so it's $1 million total, and I hope that will continue on to be completed. We created internal processes to increase staff productivity and efficiency, implemented the new records management software within the police department. Is that my time? Okay. All right, but I just wanted to let y'all know the prior council did a lot of good, and some of you out there are saying the prior council didn't do anything. Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments?
Name's Wayne Buchanan, 620 Gear Street. On this 2 rivers, we don't need it. There ain't nothing wrong with our sewage system. It's not broke down. Why fix something that ain't broke? It ain't at capacity. You go with 2 rivers, you're gonna be paying them more than what your water bill is now for water and sewer. And as far as the other council goes, yeah, they've done some good stuff, but they also done some bad stuff. They bought the boys club. We didn't need it. Needed work done on it. They bought the tract of land from Richard Trado, where they're leasing it. They paid way up there for it, and you can't park 6 cars in there probably. And also got the community center. I don't even know how it looks now, but the last time I went in there, they're supposed to have been working on it, and it wasn't completed. I don't know if it's completed now or not. But people need to sit and think. You think your water bill's high now? Let Twin River go to them and see what it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you a lot more. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments?
I think the people that we thank.
Excuse me, you have to go to the podium, state your name if you don't mind.
I've got to go past too many people. I think
Okay.
it's worth a nice supply.
That's it. Go ahead, you can speak. I'm just going by a rule. We just have these rules, and I'm sorry, they're not my rules. We inherited them. I agree with you. I think you should be allowed to speak.
My name is Connie Burnett, and I live down there at Main Note. What I'm speaking about, my water bill, I was on vacation last month, and it was due on the 16th, but I didn't get back until the 16th, and I paid it on the 16th. And the girl told me that I had to pay $5 late payment. I said, well, it's been on the 18th. I said, I thought it was on to be on the 18th this month. She said, no, it's on the 16th this month. So I said, well, I'm never late paying my water bill. I always pays it on time. And I think what they need, I think, in my opinion, they should have get one day that you pay your water bill instead of changing the dates. And I had to pay the 2 water bills, $10, and so I didn't think it was right, because I paid it on the 16th, but she said that was past due on the 16th.
I think you're on to something. The whole council's gonna have to revisit the whole water program, because how they turn your bills off, you pay an extra $50 up there.
She's her name and address. Connie Brand.
Your address is Brand?
May know.
Anyone else have a comment?
John Cato, 109 Walnut Street, Lowell. I was going over your paper. There's no way in the world you need 200 more houses in this community. Our own water lines, which you mentioned you got to go back over. We got water lines out there, it's almost 100 years old, right at it, that need to be replaced, not patched. They come out to my house, patch the water line. A week later, they was back out there patching it again. About a month after that, they had to come out there and put new pipe in. Now, how much money is that costing the taxpayers? When they could go out there, put a water line in, and for years you wouldn't even have to worry about it. Instead of coming out there, patching it and patching it and patching it. And on top of that, the road in front of my house was just paved. What do? Every time they come out there and patch it, they tear the road up. And that road was just replaced. There's no sense in it. That's a waste of money. And these water lines has got to be replaced. Especially back there behind your house, Shane. And the other city council has not even took this stuff into consideration. And I told Larry, I'd wait 6 months before I come up here raising Cain. I'd give y'all that long to get settled in. But the way y'all been treating each other is disrespectful, even to the public. Now, they voted y'all in. And they expect you to act that way. That's all I got to say. You have a nice day.
Thank you. Anyone else have a comment? Thank you. The next item on the business will be the approval of the minutes of 5/14/2024. We have a motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from 5/14.
Second.
Have a second. All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold on one second.
No, I'm sorry. You can go ahead and speak. We didn't get.
It's for the presentation after the
She's on the agenda.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, yeah, we got a motion and second to approve the minutes. Got a motion and second.
Mr. Bates had I've got something I want to say.
Okay, go ahead.
This last month's meeting, Mayor, was
as far as I'm concerned, was an embarrassment to this whole board. The way it was ran, the hollering at each other, the language that was used, even some explicit language was heard. We're supposed to be professionals. During my career, I tried to be courteous, respectful, polite throughout my whole career. And I bring those same principles to this table. And I think I can hold y'all to the same standards. And we're not here to call names, to call other cities suckers, or call the city manager this cat over here. That's totally disrespectful. As far as I'm concerned, I won't tolerate it any further in any of the meetings. I hope everybody can get along and understand that. You may not see nothing wrong with the words that you use, but it's just not professional, it's not respectful, and it needs to stop.
I agree with you 100%, that's why I apologize, but yeah.
And I appreciate you apologizing, I mean, but I just wanted to get that out,
I
because that's the
appreciate
way
you,
I
and I
felt.
appreciate your concern, because I have the same concern you did. But the words I use are mild compared to some of these people. But that's what I
But there
said. It's
again,
all is bad, and that's why I apologize. We don't need to kick an old can down the road. We just
There
need to go
again,
ahead
Mayor,
and move it.
we're not here to decide whose language is worse than the other. Language is language. It needs to stop. This is a professional meeting. We've got an agenda that we go by, that we have business on. That's what we need to stick to, is the agenda. And at the same point, if we get off track, we need to corral each other back in if we have to get back on track and finish the business at hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other amendments to the minutes?
What?
Any more changes or speaking about the minutes? Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Thank you. All right, so we got that out of the way. So the next thing on the agenda is 3A, annual presentation by League for the North Carolina fellow Amia Watkins. Maya, I'm sorry. I tried, huh?
Good evening, citizens, city employees, and city council. My name is Maya Watkins, and I'm thrilled to be here today to share with you some of the highlights of my AmeriCorps Leap for North Carolina fellowship year. My fellowship in the city of Lowell has been very insightful and rewarding, and I'm excited to walk you through some of my experiences this year. To start, let me introduce myself. I have lived in Gastonia for the past 10 years, and I graduated from Ashburg High School in 2019. I have always had a passion for law and have wanted to attend law school, so I took the first steps towards that goal by attending Wingate University. In 2023, I graduated from Wingate University with a major in political science and a minor in legal studies. After graduation, I decided to take a gap year between law school and undergrad, and thus I became an AmeriCorps Leap from North Carolina for the city of Lowell. Since then, I have been accepted to Howard University School of Law, where I will attend this fall to earn my Juris Doctor. So Leap for North Carolina, or LFNC for short, connects promising young leaders with our state's local government. The aim of the program is to place LFNC fellows into spaces like Lowell with the intention of bringing the knowledge we gain from college and putting it to good use in small cities. Leap for North Carolina also strives to expose fellows to local government practices, potentially opening our eyes to career paths in small municipalities and providing a unique local government learning experience. One of my primary goals during my time in the city of Lowell was to increase capacity within various departments. Increasing capacity can manifest itself in many ways, including making programs more efficient, organizing training sessions, conducting research, offering new perspectives, creating and administering surveys, planning events, developing training materials, and so much more. On my first day as a Leap for North Carolina Fellow, Scott had me shadow each department in Lowell. I began looking for gaps that I could fill. It certainly was not easy, as the city of Lowell is full of amazing, highly educated employees who do an incredible job within their respective departments. However, I was able to find spaces where I could improve and create things of my own. Let's dive into some specific projects that I've worked on. First up, utility billing policy comparative analysis. This was one of my first projects where I was able to update the city of Lowell's utility billing policy. I devised the updates for Lowell's policy, by conducting a citywide comparative analysis, researching the utility billing policies of surrounding cities, and ensuring that Lowell's policy was up to date. I developed a comprehensive social media policy to enhance the city's online presence and ensure that city employees represent Lowell responsibly online. I assisted in creating an evacuation plan to ensure the safety of Lowell employees in the event of an emergency. I evaluated the city's AI phone line system for efficiency and made recommendations to Polymorphic to make the AI phone line even more efficient. I helped formulate a telework policy to adapt to modern work environments. I produced a video to promote the Citizens Academy program and designed and produced the Citizens Academy graduation certificates. I supported various Parks and Rec events, such as photos with Santa and the annual City of Lowell Treat Walk. I designed a job listing pamphlet to attract potential employees. I produced and presented mandatory DEI training sessions to all city employees. And to put it shortly, anywhere that I could help, or anywhere that I thought I could help, I did. Along with increasing capacity, my second goal in the city of Lowell was to learn as much as possible, seize every learning opportunity, and make the most of my experience as a fellow. Whether I was shadowing the city manager at a conference, accompanying the stormwater director at an event, or rendering aid at a Labor Day luncheon, I learned and had fun. Working in this fellowship opened my eyes to the rewarding nature of working in public service. From this fellowship, I have learned several key lessons. First off, local government is crucial and impactful. Most people only pay attention to government on a federal level, and I used to be one of those people. This fellowship shifted my focus from federal government to the government that takes place not far from where I live. There is a lot of exciting activities in small cities. I have lived in Gastonia for a decade, and I'm only realizing that there's a Rotary Club not far from where I live. This and many other events are what I realized existed due to this fellowship. Young people have a significant role to play in local governance. While most young people are eager to leave their hometowns in search of jobs in bigger cities, there are a lot of wonderful job opportunities in smaller cities like Lowell. Voting in local elections is essential for community development. There is never a more important time to vote than in your local government elections. And it is here where your vote truly counts. Small towns have unique and wonderful qualities. When passing through Lowell and towns like Lowell, you cannot really see the wonderful friendships between coworkers and the relationships that you build with citizens. However, I can now say after working within a local government that there is no experience like it. In conclusion, my year-long fellowship with Leave North Carolina has been a transformative experience. I have gained a deeper understanding of local government, made meaningful contributions to the city of Lowell, and learned lessons that will guide me as I continue my education at Howard University School of Law. Before applying to Leave North Carolina, I had no idea what local government was. To be completely transparent, I applied to this fellowship thinking that local government had to do more with the law and that my position would be similar to a paralegal. But I'm very glad that I did. And I now have an enriching knowledge of local government and have learned lessons that I will take with me for the rest of my life and my career. Thank you all for your support and for giving me the opportunity to serve and grow. Live, laugh, Lowell.
Thank you. The next thing on the agenda is the proclamation of Juneteenth. I have a proclamation I have here. I'm going to read it to all the citizens. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring the slaves in Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas the celebration of the end of slavery, which became known as Juneteenth, is the oldest known celebration commemorating the ending of slavery in the United States. When Union soldiers led by Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas on June 19, 1865, bringing news that the Civil War had ended, and the Emancipation Proclamation declared all enslaved people free nearly 2.5 years earlier. And whereas the first Juneteenth celebration was a time for reassurance, prayer, and the gathering of family members and neighbors, and today is a time of remembrance and celebration within communities throughout the country that promotes, cultivates knowledge and appreciation of African American history and culture, while encouraging continuous self-development and respect for all people and cultures. And whereas this year's Juneteenth celebrations take place in Gaston County during the period of Saturday, June 15th through Wednesday, June the 19th on Saturday. There will be a Juneteenth celebration at the Centennial Park in Bessemer City, a Juneteenth celebration at Stowe Park in Belmont, a Juneteenth celebration on Main Street in Belmont, the 6th annual Ebony Fest Juneteenth Festival at the Rotary Pavilion in Gastonia, which will be held on the 15th, 16th, and 19th of June. And now therefore, I, Larry Simons, Mayor and the City Council of Lowell, do hereby declare June 19th, 2024 as Juneteenth in the City of Lowell, North Carolina. Urge all citizens to join in celebrating the day as so significant in the history and heritage of our nation and city. In witness thereof, I have hereunto you set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Lowell to be affixed on this 11th day of June in the year of our Lord 2024. I need a motion to adopt this.
Make a motion we adopt the proclamation 02-2-2024.
Can we have a second?
Second.
Have any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. All right, then, the next thing, the consent agenda, I guess we need to adopt that. So we have a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, then the next thing is going to be the unfinished business.
Baits and traps.
The whole congregation. All right, the next thing is unfinished business. Public hearing to close out the fiscal year 17 Community Development Block Grant, CDBG Neighborhood Revitalization Program, page 40, revitalization. I'm sorry.
This is a tough word.
It is for me, I tell you. I've been reading all night.
It
So-
just is.
Okay, so we're gonna have to go into a public hearing. We need a motion to go into public hearing and discuss this.
Make a motion to go in public hearing.
Sure. Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. All right, who wants to go first?
Thank you, Mayor. Amanda with Withers Ravenel is going to speak to this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Amanda Whitaker. I'm with Withers Ravenel, and our funding team was responsible for applying for and receiving this grant for the city, as well as the grant administration. So the purpose of this public hearing is to close this grant out. It is a requirement of the CDBG program that the community hold a public hearing to talk about the accomplishments of the program and the expenditures and allow folks to speak in regards to that. So the city received a 2017 Community Development Block Grant Neighborhood Revitalization Grant number 17-C2999. The purpose, again, is to discuss the program performance and allow citizens of the city the opportunity to make any comments and to close out the CDBG project. So in February 2019, the city received these funds in the amount of $750,000. They originate from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and funnel through the North Carolina Department of Commerce. So the proposed activities include the rehabilitation of 10 homes and the rehabilitation of the city's neighborhood facility, which is your community facility, I believe. The city was able to assist 8 households through this grant, completing repairs to those, and then also completing repairs to the neighborhood facility. All of the benefits have to be at least 51 or more low to moderate income. All the homes are 100% low to moderate income, and then the community center benefits the entire area, and it just has to be over 51%. And that specific area that it is located in is over 51% LMI. So the objective of, there's a national objective of helping low to moderate income with CDBG, and that was met. Also, program activities are complete at this time. Grant funds that were expended are 91%, and we'll go through why it wasn't 100% in 1 minute. Final requisitions have been submitted to the state by May 1st, which was the deadline. And all closeout documents will be submitted after the public hearing is held, and minutes from this public hearing are adopted at your next meeting. It has been a successful project. It has remained in compliance. The state has audited this grant and gone through all of the paperwork, went to the homes and looked at those, and there were no findings. The reason that we were unable to do all 10 homes was one person backed out once we got to the point of signing the contracts. And then when we went back and tried to get another home, they were about $40,000 over what we were able to afford. So because of the deadlines of the grant and it being a 17 grant, we were forced to close out at that point. And I'll be happy to answer any questions about the homes or the process.
Is complete, is it almost completed, is this what you're saying? Or is-
It's complete. Final requisition has been sent to the state.
So we just need a motion to end it, or what do we have to do?
You've opened it. If there are no public comments, you can close it.
And then we'll take care of that. But thank you for your
Yes.
presentation. Need a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, before we do that, I'd just like to ask if there's any citizens that would like to speak,
Yeah.
that they can be given that opportunity.
Did any citizen from the process that had their houses fixed here tonight? Anybody?
Person had her hand up. Go ahead and you can
Go ahead, Ms. Funderburk.
you can
I
speak.
just want to say thank you. I worked with you a little 7 years ago. A lot of grants, it takes a long time to implement. People don't realize that.
Ms. Funderburk.
I can't hear you.
I'm
So when I do the minutes, I can't hear anyone.
I was just thanking Amanda, because when she started this grant process 7 years ago, I mean, you think you're going to get a grant and it's going to start the next day. I really did think that. Grants don't work that way. And I just appreciate her and the time, 7 years, to do 8 houses and then give money to the community center, which is not completed yet. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Any other comments from the citizens on this? Got a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any more discussion from the board? All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you. All right. The next thing on here is the public hearing for Spencer Ridge Development Agreement. I need a motion going to public hearing for that.
Make a motion to go into public hearing for Spencer Ridge Development Agreement.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm going to have Tyler Cobb, our planning director, go over this.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. So just I want to recap kind of while we're here. So this development agreement was brought to the Planning Board on April 2nd, 2024. The Planning Board ultimately unanimously approved the development agreement, and we're here today to have a public hearing on this matter. I'll be glad to answer any questions regarding this.
Any citizens have any questions? Any of the council have any questions?
And, yeah, we will just need the staff recommends it because it's consistent with the Lowell Comprehensive Land Use Plan and the Lowell LDO.
Tyler, one clarification, Mayor, that I wanted to add
Yeah.
on here, on page 52 of your agenda, in section 7, there's a spot that says blank months following the approval of the water line plans. So we're at the bottom of section 7 on page 52. That should be 24 months is what was left out of that. There are a lot of versions of this floating around, and this was the final, but somehow that got missed on the 24 months.
I know in past, whenever we had a subdivision come in or whatever, they had to post money like a surety bond, and all things are going to be complete.
They will have to post a bond.
What?
They will have to do a bond.
Mr. Mayor, it's in the agreement.
I understand, but before it's approved, I mean, y'all can approve it, but before it's approved, it's like we had the problem down here at Magnolia Place.
It's in the agreement.
I understand, but, you know, you got to protect the citizens and also know that everything's going to be taken care of. And if you look in there, there's like 9 parcels of property there. It's not been, you know, people haven't agreed to have them come in on the right-of-way.
Yes, so like I explained to you before, that when you called and asked about that, this can be passed with the easements not in place because that's a private matter between the developer and the to the owner of the property. So it can be passed based on that, and that's on page, bottom of page 5.
Also the monies that there's, like I said, the surety bond, they're supposed to come in and take care of all the water lines, sewer lines, and all the things in this agreement. But what does it hurt to have a surety bond before you vote on it? What would stop us from requiring that? I've never heard of a development nowhere where you say it's okay to come back in the rears and say, okay, we got to fix this thing later with a surety bond. No, the surety bond's done and gone. They can't get it. After it's approved and ratified, they can't get a bond.
So, Mayor Simons, the costs and bonds that are required is under Section 19 of the agreement. I think that's what Mr. Chitwood would say. We have, and it references the LDO policy that the developer will have to comply with.
How long have you been in municipal law? I just want to ask you that.
I believe that's off of course, so let's stay on course.
I want to know about the law for this LDO.
So, Mayor Simons, when there's a point of order that's raised by a council person, then that's a procedural motion. It needs to be addressed immediately. So if someone's saying stay on the agenda, or the comments are disrespectful to other members or to the public, then you need to, and that's brought to the whole council. So if there's not disagreement with that, you all need to move on.
Once this is voted on tonight, they have an opportunity to come back and do what? To get a surety bond later on? Or should the surety bond be in place tonight before you vote?
Point of order again, please.
I'm asking a question. I'm asking an attorney a question. It's not.
The provision for bonds is covered under Section 19. The developer will have to post a bond that's approved by the city engineer. So the city engineer will price that out. The developer will post that bond. That is what the development agreement requires.
So things have changed, I guess. That's what I'm saying. It used to be, I know when we had a subdivision or whatever.
How long ago was that, Mr. Mayor?
It doesn't matter.
Well, I'd just like to find out that way.
I appreciate it.
Because the reason being is, it's not 1980 no more, 1990.
I know what's wrong with covering dotting every I and crossing every T?
So, gentlemen, let's get back on the agenda here and move on with the business. Okay?
No other question?
No, this is not.
Public hearing will be up there.
This is a public hearing.
Up at the podium. Please, what if you want to, go ahead.
Yes, sir, you can speak.
Anyone closed public hearing, didn't we?
No, we didn't.
We did not?
No.
I was just going to ask a question about the public hearing process because of this conversation that transpired. I've sat through multiple public hearings where they ask if there's any questions, comments, or concerns from the public, and 90% of the time, us as the public have no idea what the hell, pardon my language, what is going on or what's being voted on or discussed in this public hearing other than what Mr. Cobb has explained just now, which was very little detail. And then the council has a packet. I believe the mayor was, kind of poking at that and asking some questions. And is there any?
I can comment on that. Okay. Mr. Mayor doesn't read his packet like he should, and we read ours. I know me and Mr. Bates and Mr. Robinson, and I can speak for us three. And I'm not putting nothing against these two, but we read, and Mr. Mayor doesn't completely read or read to understand.
Okay.
And that's why we ask him to move on, because we have a long agenda at every meeting that we have. And I understand the public has a right to speak, but Mr. Mayor veers off a track.
And I understand that. I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm asking is the information that's given to the council on these topics and subjects of public hearing, is that information available to the public prior to public hearing? That's what I'm asking.
If you ask for it, yes, sir.
If we ask for it.
It's actually online.
It's online, too.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, because I know a lot of times in these public hearings, I don't necessarily know exactly what we're discussing or not discussing. It's just reference a packet that the public doesn't have, or at least I didn't have. And that's what I was wondering. You said it's available online.
If you go online and look under the meeting agenda, it'll say agenda packet, and everything we get is within
What
that.
y'all can get.
That's all. No, that was my question. I appreciate it.
No problem.
To answer Mr. Chilwood, I read the whole thing, page 41 to 95, and I studied it hard. And what I don't like about this thing is this, if it's just a common citizen out here, they put you, listen, they go get a zoning permit. You jump through hoops to get a zoning permit. This thing here is laid out by the zoning board, which they've already approved, I understand that. But this council has the final say and the final vote once this public hearing's closed. And as a citizen, I have a right to ask questions too. And I'm not referring to the attorney as, not being up to date or whatever. I just ask a simple question. I know in the past, when I was on the board, you had to put up money. You just didn't walk into the city and tell them you're going to go out here and you're going to provide all these services, and knowingly that you have to fulfill that, because all this money is, ultimately comes back to the city. If you get the permits for each property, we're going to get money. If they do what they say they're going to do, we're going to get tax money. But all the stuff in this agreement has to be adhered to, correct? As far as the all the right-of-ways, all the and money to put up to do the system, all the water lines, sewer lines. You got a big old influx of a sewer line, so like a pump or something that goes from the bottom of Spencer Mountain. It's going to have to shoot the manure back up here to the I guess Lauren Woods. And then you got a water line that's going to be astronomical as far as to put those water lines in and stuff like that. And just like we're talking about the sewer earlier, these folks they have responsibility too. It says that they will incur all expenses. Am I right or wrong? That they will incur all expenses towards the city.
Is that what it said in the packet?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. But here's the thing about it: who's going to do it if it doesn't get finished up? That's why you have a surety bond. Not later on, not 45 days down the road, or 6 months, or 2 years down the road. And I think they have like 2 years to even finish this project. Am I right?
But I believe if they don't complete the job or their responsibilities, then it would make the contract, the agreement between Lowell and Lennar possibly invalid. I'm not going to say a breach of contract, but the contract, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand your question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to answer him. If they don't finish the job, it's Lowell going to be responsible. I think according to the agreement, if there's some kind of not finished job or some kind of breach there within that agreement, then Lowell is not going to hold Lennar responsible, vice versa. They can't hold Lowell responsible for finishing the work.
So if there is default under the agreement, then Lowell can give notice that they have to finish and have to comply with what's in here. If that doesn't happen, then Lowell would have the opportunity to exercise on the bond. And so the bond is approved by the city engineer based on their cost estimates that review, and so that is there to protect the city.
Right, but in the very beginning of this whole agreement, whenever they go down to start, once it's passed, they can start work or whatever. But they can't really start work until all agreements are met. Just like you said, 45 days, correct? After is assigned, they have up to 45 days to get these easements according to what's in here. They have 45 days, is that correct?
The 45 days is for the easement for the water line. So
Yes,
one
sir.
of the provisions in the agreement provides for how they're going to do the water line
Yes, sir.
and how they're going to get that easement so that can.
For instance, they don't get that easement, then the thing is just right back to where it's null and void. And that's why, to me, I mean, I don't run the zoning department.
If they don't get the easement, then they go through Post and Park. That's the Plan B.
And they have to just notify us.
All this stuff needs to be on the table as far as, what the backup plan is and things like that, because that's where you have a public hearing, that's where you find out this information. And no one's blaming you for it, and no one's blaming the managers for it, and no one's blaming you. All the responsibility lies within this council. They make the final decision. Without all the information, I don't see how you can make it. I mean, you can make a decision, yes, but are you covering all the bases that you should to benefit the citizens, just like the whole infrastructure of the water and the sewer? And you know as well as I do, and all you folks have been involved in this, it's going to be very, very expensive. And then we got to have a way to take care of their streets, the roads, the whole 9 yards, even though it's been voted on by the zoning board. I realize that. But here's the thing about it. Once this council adopts this, that's fine, correct? When the council adopts this, they have a right to go forward. Is that correct?
That's what we're here for.
That's what I'm saying. If you vote for it, yes. That's what I'm saying. If this council votes for it, up or down, whatever, that's going to be the rule of law. That's how you're going to follow this thing till it's finished.
Well, they have the right to go forward now because the property's been rezoned, and it's been rezoned for the site plan that they want to do. The purpose of the development agreement, it's required by the LDO under one of the sections, and it's to provide for what property it applies to, the time frame that it's going to take, the period when all the public facilities are dedicated to the city for maintenance. So there's some additional conditions on top of their right, but they have the right to move forward with the development as it stands.
So in other words, they didn't really need to have the public hearing tonight?
No, we need the public hearing because the Lowell Development Ordinance requires any major subdivision to have a
This is to protect
development
both
agreement.
parties. Those people that are building in the city of Lowell, that's why we're having this public hearing, just like we did 20 years ago or 25 years ago or whatever. And the thing that bothers me the most is we have a recent history with Magnolia Place, and it's relevant because it never got completed later on. That is point of order.
So, Mayor Simons, once a point of order has been raised, basically, whenever a council person says, I'd like to make a point of order, whether that's to follow the agenda or, hold on a second. I mean, and I'm just going to make this recommendation. Ultimately, the council will have to decide how it proceeds. But when there's a point of order raised, it's basically saying, we need to move on, or these remarks are out of line. Typically, that would go to the mayor, the chairman of the meeting, to address. But when you're the person whose remarks are leading to the point of order, it goes to the council. It needs to be addressed immediately. It's a procedural motion. If there's no disagreement, then it needs to move on.
I understand what you're saying wholeheartedly. I understand this. This is a public hearing.
No, there is a motion that's pending, Mayor
I
Simons,
understand he
that
has a
needs to
motion.
be addressed.
Correct. And we're having discussion on the motion in a second. We're not having, but okay, you got a motion second, point of order. Any more discussion from the council?
I'd just like to say that it states, that the bond shall be posted within the city within 5 business days of the date in which the first plat of intended development is recorded.
So we'll have another
So
meeting
they will
then?
have to, no, but they will have to post a bond 5 days, within 5 days of posting it.
That's my concern.
Just so everyone knows.
Okay, you got a motion second. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed?
It was a point of order motion.
Everybody growing up in there.
I don't know.
Who did the second?
Who did the second?
I made the motion.
I heard a motion.
Phil said he made the second.
Who made the motion? You did? Who made
We've already
who made
got
the
it.
second?
We got it.
Okay, good. All in favor, good. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Thank you.
Well, we have to just to go out of public hearing, now we have to have the motion, so I make a motion that we adopt this.
Councilman, can I just double check, make sure that there's no other public wanting to speak on this? And before we move on, just wanted to make sure that we exhausted that.
I thought we already closed the
I
public hearing.
think that motion was just to move on.
Gotcha.
It was to the
Thank
point
you.
of
It
order.
was. It was.
You
That's
all
my fault.
still need to close the public hearing and then vote on the development agreement.
Yeah, we need a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Have a second?
Is there any other public comments before we close?
Question though, I just have a question. So for that development, when you're coming up the hill, are they gonna create a left-hand signal at that light when you're coming up? Because if it's all these houses coming, then if you're turning left to go down McCaddenville Road, it's gonna be crazy for people to get out and make a left. Because right now it's already kind of hectic to make a left-hand turn, but if there's a whole development coming and people making a left to get on 85, it's not gonna.
Talking right up here, ma'am, the 7 route to
Yeah.
exit 23. I think that's within the traffic impact study that's being done now. And there may, do you have any information on that, Jason?
Yes, so they
Tyler?
did. I can get that information to you, kind of what the TIA, which is a traffic impact analysis, that was completed in 2023. I can get that information for you.
Jason, do you have anything to add on that?
The TIA was approved. There's no signal required.
Okay.
But I'll be glad to get the information for you.
So it sounds like we would not need to, bless you. We might need to petition the state for that.
Exactly.
We've been asking that, correct.
And whatever we got to do, let's try to get it done.
We'll touch base again on that, sure.
We've asked for that turn lane for
For a long while now.
Anyone else have a comment in public hearing before we close? Thank you.
Who seconded to close, Mariella, do
We
the
close.
motion again?
We got a motion and a second to close the public hearing.
Dwayne made the motion to close. Dwayne made the motion to close. There hasn't been a second.
Any more discussion?
Need a second, she said.
I'll second.
Okay, got a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. All right, yes, I need to vote on it. I need a motion to adopt the resolution.
I make a motion to adopt the Spencer Ridge Development Agreement.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Can't do everything.
Can I just say that we didn't vote to approve the CBG, we just voted to come out of public hearing?
Right, there was no action required on the CDBG. It was just a public hearing that was required as part of the grant program before they close out. So, yep, there was no action required on that.
Next item of business is going to be the consideration budget amendment number 13.
Thank you, Mayor. This comes from the last month's council meeting. There was a typo on this, and this is for the wastewater AIA grant from fiscal year 2021, recognizing the $67,521.
Okay. We have a motion to change this in the budget.
Make a motion to approve budget amendment number 13.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. The next item is going to be the amended grant project, the Lowell wastewater treatment plant grant. Go ahead, Scott.
So last month, this was also continued from the May meeting. Wanted to bring this information to you. I've included it in the packet, on the council agenda packet, and the memo. Basically, we've spent out of the $400,000 grant and the $588,000 total costed job, we spent out $343,432 of the grant. We knew that there was going to be a delta of the 400 to the 588 equaling $188,000 to pay the engineering firm to complete the plans, just the plans to engineer the regionalization project of the wastewater treatment plant. These funds are available. There's a subsequent budget amendment after this one, this agenda item for this, if we're going to move forward with the amended grant project ordinance. And what that budget amendment is for is to cover that $188,000 with system development fees, which we've far surpassed our budgeted revenue for system development fees this year, already collected. So there's money in that. Check. There's statutory requirements on how we utilize SDF fees, system development fees. It is for system-wide expansion projects and maintenance projects, and this is definitely that of adding capacity to the system. There are some other items that we discovered, and we're on a call with DWI trying to find out your answer from last month. If we could stop this grant, will we pay back the grant? That's unclear. There might be an avenue to where we could stop the grant, and basically, let's just say that the 343 is where we're at now. It's really not. Work has been going on, since we've had that number. But let's just call it $350,000. You submit to the state saying we would like to lessen our $400,000 grant to $350,000 where we're at right now. Will you approve that? And we've done all of this work of the scope that we've submitted that they've approved. And there's a chance that they might allow you to stop it and bring the grant down. And then that's one thing. And then the other thing would be with myself and the city attorney and the engineering firm that we signed a contract with already for the total 588 if you wanted to stop it. This engineering report that's produced out of this is going to get the city basically permit ready, bid packages ready to go forward with that if the council sees to do that. On that call, we were told that the City of Lowell was identified, and we did receive more grant funding within that SRF loan, that $7.9 million, which brought the loan amount down to just shy of $4.6 million. They also informed us that the EPA has sent out basically a warning memo to the DWI saying that there will be no extensions on the funding. If you have people that you have awarded an SRF loan, like the City of Lowell, they will not extend. It has to be spent by September of 2027. And just a little bit about that timeline from what we know. There's no timeline set in stone, but we know where we're at now. We're submitting for permit approvals this month in June. We're probably going to have permits in hand September as a good rule of thumb, giving us a little bit of a buffer. 3 months of bidding at 2 rounds, so after the first of the year, January 2025, the council would select a contractor. Before we select a contractor, we'll have to go to Raleigh somewhere in the September, maybe August, September timeframe to start working with the local government commission to get approved for the debt. You just can't take $4.6 million out in debt without getting approved from LGC. So that would have to come before. We really would need to start working on that the end of this month, beginning of July, to get ready for the LGC. So again, you'd have bids in hand January 2025 and selecting a contractor. Construction time frame being about 15 months. So this is the fastest way, and that would be May 2026 completion. So there's some things that are likely to get delayed in these processes anyway. That's if all goes well, and some conservative figure on how long it takes to get some of these things back from the state, like our permit approvals. So that's kind of that in a nutshell, the updates that we learned. When we talked about this at the Two Rivers joint work session that we had the other Thursday, it was mentioned too that, and they confirmed that if we weren't talking about a regionalization project, likely our grant application wouldn't have scored as high as it did, because you get extra points for that in the grant scoring, and we wouldn't be sitting here with an SRF loan. And if we switched and said we just want to expand the plant, or not expand the plant, but rebuild the plant, because our engineers that are working on this say that it cannot be expanded because of the age of it, then we will likely not be funded a SRF loan or any other type of funding from the federal government and through DWI to build a new plant. So that's the information that we have.
Just a point of information as far as the plan itself goes, talking about borrowing this money and spending all the money to bring this up to date for Two Rivers. All this money falls on the back of the citizens of Lowell. They're going to come in after we spend all this money, borrow the money, make these high payments. Have you did any figure as far as how much you think it's going to cost each month for each citizen in this town to pay that?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I think Mr. Evans provided that to everybody via email, and I think you'll see that the cost difference is astronomical versus acting today versus acting 10 years from now. So I would encourage you to read the information that we got before you get here, and then we move on.
Well, just to kind of add to that, I'd like to say that he has added, or we do have cost for whether we build a plant or whether we move to Two Rivers. What we've yet to see is what type of cost are we going to have for Two Rivers to treat that. And I'm just curious, why we didn't negotiate some of that up front or set some min-maxes. I mean, the deeper we get into it, the less negotiating power I would think we would have as far as what Two Rivers could charge. So we know that the Fair Street, we already go to Two Rivers. What does that cost as far as treatment, them treating it versus our current plant? Whether it's, I don't know how they do that, whether it's 1,000 gallons, 10,000 gallons, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's on the Two Rivers fee schedule, wholesale customer, what we've been paying. I think this year approximately we're budgeting $70,000 for Fair Street, roughly in the water sewer department. So But yeah, we would, the contract, kind of talked about this a little bit on the work session, but the contract, we're gonna have like a capacity that we request. If we need 600 or 700,000 gallons, we're gonna have that ask in there, and we're gonna have to start absorbing that at some point. There's other things in the contract, like when you get the peak days from rain, and you've got a big spike because of I&I, you're gonna have to pay more. Well, there's ways to work it into the contract where, for a certain amount of years at least, that there's a little bit of forgiveness on those peak days of weather events, to go back, look at the rain gauges and historical data, and they'll kind of work with the bill. Yeah, I think that work session was the first of many. The city manager has reached out since then, has said that I'll sit down with any of the council members kind of one-on-one or two-on-two, whatever, so that any other
Yeah, for me,
questions
I
can
would,
get
I mean,
asked.
I would like to know
Absolutely.
what that charge is gonna be, at least somewhat.
I would appreciate to know, drill down more than, I can tell you this, that it's much less than what it would be if we built a brand-new plant in 15 years.
How do we know that? We don't know what those charges are. I mean,
If you look at.
that's gonna be set
construction
at a later
costs
date.
today versus
He's talking about, I see what he's saying.
I'm talking
He's
about the
fee
fees
that's
in
coming from
process.
Two Rivers,
We
not
built
the
that
cost
in.
of what the bill is.
It's all built into the same fee.
It's built into the fee
It's all
analysis that I
built
sent
into
out the
same
3
thing.
attachments.
So you can pay X today, or you can pay X times tomorrow. It doesn't matter. The dollars are the dollars. You're gonna pay this much.
So what is
you
that,
take
what is that
advantage
charge
of
per
the low-
1,000 gallons that they're gonna?
That's what Mr. Adley's proposed to us today. If you want to look at what it's going to be 10 years,
I'm talking about what's the charge per 1,000 gallons that Two Rivers is gonna charge us to treat that sewer? That's what I'm asking. The guy that was here when we had the work session said he didn't
I
know.
understand what you're saying. All I can say is this: we are going to absorb the cost of a pump station or a new station. You can divide it up into, tomorrow we're going to build a pump station, or 15 years we're going to build a new wastewater treatment plant.
Understand.
That doesn't matter. We can work out the math. At the end of the day, the dollars go back to every account holder that's going to be responsible for funding that project. Okay, so right now, we have the ability of basically 0-inch load, go to a pump station and incorporate it. Or we can kick the can down the road for 10 years and possibly rebuild at $30 million and see how that money extrapolates out per monthly bill to all of our users. It's pretty easy math for me in my way, not.
So if it's that easy, can you tell me roughly what our charge is gonna be per
That's what he just
10,000
gave me.
gallons?
That's what he just gave me.
You didn't give anything.
It gives me a hope. It doesn't give me, do you understand what I'm asking?
You want a price per 1,000?
Or whatever the charge, how do we pay it for the Fair Street?
That's,
I don't know how we.
Lisa?
Is
that's a good question. We should have this information.
Yeah, we'd have to go pull a bill to know what exactly that is.
It would have
but-
been good if you'd have had the information to tell us that much, because when I called.
And I could have gotten that if I would have known
Well, I
ahead of
mean,
time.
that's-
Well,
yeah.
for sure.
That's common sense when you come to a meeting, you need to have all the
Well,
information.
no, I think here's the bigger question, is do we honestly think that not taking advantage of this low interest, basically no interest loan right now, to rebuild a thing at $8 million versus waiting 10 years at $30 million, that the cost impact of the consumer is less today than it would be 10 years from now? I mean, somebody explain to me how we are where we are. It's pretty simple math.
So I don't think Phil quite understands, kind of what I'm looking for. But let me ask you this, so is there a bulk rate, or they a bulk contract that they set for that per 1,000 gallons of treatment? Or the city of Lowell is going to have to negotiate that into this contract?
Well, the wholesale rate for municipal customers, to my understanding, is
all the
straight
same.
across the board.
It's all the
Yep.
same. Okay. If that's the case, then we should be able to know what that bulk rate
Yeah,
is.
like I said, it's
I
on
mean,
the
I
Two
know-
Rivers fee
yeah.
schedule. At least
Well, we
that's
had-
how it used to read, is that it would
That
be
was
a
one of the things I
wholesale.
asked the guy when we were here, but he said, well, we don't know what that is yet. Well,
Okay.
we gotta
Maybe there
know.
was some
Maybe.
thought
I didn't-
of differences because of the contract negotiations that could happen, or with those minimum, kind of maximum capacities that they grant within the contract. Again, I think the Two Rivers work session was to get some of these questions to the surface of that you have. That's the first one I've got. And I'll
As
make
far
sure
as
we
this
get
goes, I
that.
mean, to me, they've done, what would you say, 90% of the work?
When we were on the call about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, I think they referred to us about 80%. yeah.
80%?
But they still
I
haven't
mean,
given
the
you.
previous council kind of agreed to it. I mean, we almost got to at least pay them what they're.
That Ravenel, we owe them probably for whatever research or whatever they've done. But here's the whole thing about it, Shane, you're on the right line. You're telling the exact truth, the exact way things should be figured is how much, and it's simple. It's really, like he said, it's really simple. How many water customers do we have, Mr. Attaway?
1,730.
1,730. All right, and then you said the total cost, what they've estimated so far with Withers Ravenel, that total figure is how much? 10.5 million. And we're gonna have to, taxpayers, citizens here are gonna have to pay and deed it back over to them to take care of it.
It was 5 million.
It was 4.6
You
is
got
the
money that's already, you got grant money, you got borrowed money, you got the total, TOTAL.
7.9.
Okay, then you got interest on top of that. I think it's like 10.5. You gotta give them $1.5 million to
0.76.
administer it, to administer the whole thing. It's like Ravenel's $1.5 million. But what folks don't understand, we own this system, and it's a true statement. And until we ever reach a need to where we need to look at something, where you only have half capacity, listen, sewer doesn't stay and just sit there. Sewer moves. Why? That's why it's called flow, F-L-O-W, flow, sewer flow. And it never sits there. It's going all the time back into the water system, and that's how it works. But as far as coming out here and telling folks that, what I understand what you're saying is this: you really don't know how much it's going to cost each citizen for the water bill. And the people in
That was in the email,
Cramerton and them didn't even have to give the money that we're having to give. Randall didn't give any money, but they're eat up in fees and bills.
Keeping the plant was like, $200-something a month
Where?
per certain amount of gallons redoing the plant.
A new plant
Yeah.
on what I sent you all on that
Yeah.
fee study. I think year
That
5.
was like,
Their water sewer bill was $200 a month for a 4,000 gallon customer,
Just
whereas
like this.
I think it was like 103 for if you went regionalization route, as far as spreading the debt across all the customer base that you're going to have to do for all the users of the system.
here's where I'm at, and this came from our last meeting. I mean, we got 3 options. Regionalized with True is 20-year, 0.76% rate, $5 million. That came out of here.
Yep.
Right. Option 2 was regionalized with True private finance at 5% rate, $12.7 million. Wastewater treatment plant replacement is $48.2 million at 5%. And that's now numbers. That's not wait a couple years down the road numbers. So, I mean, to me, you're going to save the citizens a lot of money just with the regionalization.
If you look at the truth, nothing but the truth, the minimum water bill on Lowell right now is $45. That includes your water runoff fee and your landfill fee. If you think that these prices are gonna stay that way, you're badly mistaken. You're talking about a family of 5 that pays right now close to $200 on a regular load deal where we own our own system, and where they're gonna pay a minimum. If it goes up 25% on $200, you're talking about $300 a month. And that's just for one family of 5. You can shake your head if you want to, but do the math. And that's what it takes is math. How much is it then?
Well, here's the thing. If you don't
It's
believe.
exactly 300.
If you don't buy into regionalization, I don't care if you do or don't, then what is your solution? Something's got to be done. And what is the least how does it affect the citizens the least? If you can come up with a different scenario, that'd be great. But there's not anything here. You're just cursing what is the best scenario. You're not offering an alternative, other than kicking the can down the road and cost the people more money,
I think
within the day. So, I don't know.
I think you said, well, it was simple. So you talked to the people in Cramerton, you talked to people in Randall about their water bill. And listen, they didn't have to put up any money. Why are we having to put up all this money to benefit someone that says they're helping us? And that's what doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't want them to be my retirement people. I want someone that's gonna take care of me, not cost me more and more money. And we have an easier way of doing things. Their sewer plant's only at 50% and less, because our sewer doesn't stay there, it continues to flow. And thank God it flows. If it didn't, just like our biggest concern right now is to get a generator that works, so we don't have to borrow something from another town.
So how do you fund that?
How you find out get a generator? You go to a place and buy a generator.
Yeah, you go, and how do you do that?
Write a check.
You fund it through.
You got the money, we got plenty of money.
In front of money. This is
If we keep our wastewater treatment plant with the intentions of replacing,
Or repairing it. Make it
Can't be
you
repaired.
can't be
It has to
repaired.
be
It's
replaced.
grandfathered in, and it can't be repaired. It's got to be replaced up to, 1 million? It's 60 now, up to 1 million, or
Something like
600 a
that.
day, something like that. You're looking at $30 million today, as we're speaking today, you're looking at $30 million to build one. How much are you going to have to go up on the citizens'
the cost
sewer
impact on the
fees
citizens is
to
astronomical
pay for
versus
that
this.
versus what we're, and I get what Shane's saying. I would like to know too what that cost is going to be. But at the same time, when you're looking at building one or consolidating with Two Rivers, I mean, 30 million to rebuild, and by the time you make the payments back, you're looking at 48 million. Or you're gonna look at 7 or 8 million. Going with Two
If
Rivers.
you're nowhere near capacity, you're less than half capacity.
We have to prepare
We're
for the future.
60% according to Withers and Rattler. We're at 60% right now.
How is that? I mean, it's a 650,000 gallon tank, we're using about 300,000.
We're 60% at, when all of the permitted flow starts flushing. So we've permitted out, or we have zoning permit approvals to get us to the 60% mark. Then what we talked about at the work session was with that map of like those 5 parcels of things that we know we're hearing soon, some things we're not hearing about, and then that are popping up over here on the boulevard with a large retailer. That's gonna take up more flow. And I think we're around like 78%, 76, 78% from that last meeting.
I think here's the thing. We've had multiple people tell us that we are at the point where we start looking at this. We are in this year thinking that something has to be done. All these people have greater knowledge than I am anyway. And we have a way to fund a solution that has the least impact on every water payer in town versus waiting and kicking them down the road. So rather than I think, or I should, or I want, let's defer to those that know and look at that solution first. That also is the least impact on every water customer that we have here. Versus I want it, or I think, or I read this 20 years ago, or whatever else it is.
So, Mr. Robinson, I understand what you're saying too, on what they want to charge. So my question to Mr. Attaway is that what you sent out to us in the email? That's what I was sitting over here trying to pull it up. It's hard to see it. But for instance, 1,000 gallon minimum, is this just guesstimation of what you think it might be, or is that what?
You talking about from Monday,
from
the fee analysis?
Yes.
The 3 attachments? No, that's
bunch
not.
of attachments,
That's
yeah.
not guessing. Yeah, that was an engineering firm that Withers crunched those numbers. They looked at the debt, different debt packages with the grant, without the grant, and with doing a $30 million plant, and what those numbers look like to the user. Because that's what I took away from the work session, was you all want to know how much it costs the citizens of Lowell, what their bills would look like. So at year 5, 2029, the 4,000 gallon a month customer would go to 105.22, and that has moved along for the 4 years prior. That's with the SRF loan grant. If you didn't do the loan grant, you said we can't do EPA deadlines or don't want to do it yet, and we don't get that grant, have to go to a bank, just guesstimating the 5% rate that we know today, your bill's going to go almost 120, 119.13 a month if you went that route. And then if you built the plant, rebuilt the plant, your 4,000 gallon customer a month would be $197.27. If I know it Shane's wanting just the unit cost on the wholesale rate of what they're charging Lowell. I understand that, so I'll get that. But I took away
what you was asking is not what I was sitting here looking at.
Well, I think maybe the engineering firm possibly would have to have included something in
to
that.
generate how
To generate that.
paying the
but
systems,
what-
O&M, and
But all I'm saying is, the deeper we get into it, then
Right, we
the
lose
less
our-
negotiating.
Right.
But he's saying now that maybe that's a set wholesale rate.
And my only point of that is, we can go deeper, and we should go deeper, and you can negotiate all you want to. But at the end of the day, are we gonna be any better than where we are with this low interest, basically no interest loan, convert versus this? We can kick it on down the road all you want to. This will go away, and this will continue to increase and increase and increase, and the cost will continue to increase. Is it worth it? I mean, y'all made the decision. I know where I am.
In my understanding, Mr. Attaway, this is just a decision to pay that money tonight, right?
yeah, this is to amend the grant project ordinance to show that 188 over on the grant project ordinance, and then the following agenda item is to do the budget amendment to use the system development fees.
Right.
And reminder what system development fees are, they're governed by statute. We can't just charge what we want. We have to study it every 5 years, and we did that a couple years ago, and it adjusted the rates upward. And that is just for new development that realizes that. That's new residential, commercial development that comes in the city. They're paying the system development fees for water and sewer.
I just heard you say the 4,000 gallons of water and sewer will be $197,000 a month right now with the water runoff fee.
How much a
and the
month?
garbage. You said $197 a month?
I thought you said 197,000.
No, it did.
You did say 197,000.
$197
Okay.
a month.
You had me worried there for a minute.
$197 a month, and right now, 4,000 gallons of water and sewer, landfill fee, water runoff fee, and everything's like $83. So you're talking about $114,000 more each month. And you're not taking, and you hadn't even said anything about the, like Shane brought up earlier about the two rivers out there on the boulevard. How much of that's going to entail? How much of the growth that you're projecting? How much is going to go into that tank, Scott?
There's approximately, I think, Tyler, you remember from that, about 35,000 gallons per day utilized from our 150,000 gallon per day contract with Two Rivers, and that's going to basically double from the Willow Creek Town.
That's already on the books.
I would imagine we're going to negotiate that rate in with this whole rate, as
Yes.
far as all that's going to be tied together.
All we do now is collect the money and pay Two Rivers. There's nothing for Lowell. And that's what you're giving up. And I don't care if you like it, don't like it, whatever you think. Here's the truth and nothing but the truth. You own the plant. You control the plant. We have to pay them for the water. We have no control. We pay them the water rates. And we charge it back to the citizens. And when you own something, it's yours. You cannot say that you don't have to make any payments. The good old citizens of Lowell from 1960 to 2001 paid that thing off in record time, no late payments, nothing, paid for completely, and you're destroying the infrastructure that you already obtained. Why? Let me ask you this, why do you think they want our sewer plant? You think it's gonna benefit them? If it's gonna benefit them, that answers your question. Is it gonna benefit us? No.
They don't want our sewer
This, we're
plant.
not- we're not
They want our
getting
sewer, they
forward
want our
on
flow,
this
they
thing.
want our money.
That's
They want our flow, and they
that's,
want our
that's
money.
a stumping issue right now, Mayor. You can stump all you want to, but we're not here to be political. We're here to talk about this
I
stuff.
think they have
Mr. Robinson, what'd you say?
So they don't want our sewer plant, they just want,
Money.
we're sending the flow, we're not
They want our
sending.
money,
They're
M-O-N-E-Y.
not, they're
I
not.
make a
treating
motion
us-
to approve budget amendment number 13.
It's
We've
the
already
grant
done
project.
that.
Or 15, I'm sorry.
Well, you'd want to do this item 5D first, the amended grant project
Gotcha.
ordinance.
We got a motion to,
I'll make a motion for the amended grant project ordinance with Lowell wastewater treatment plant planning grant.
you have a second? Second. Under discussion, how much money is that, how much money we have to pay for that right now?
It's 188.
Let him answer.
Yeah, that'll be the $188,000.
188,000, and we gotta pay plus what we've already given, right?
What
How
we've
much have we
given them
already
now,
given, paid them?
they've received $343,432
And you're gonna give them another 180,000.
of the $400,000 grant.
So you're gonna be spending $520,000 as of tonight, correct? 340 plus 180?
The total grant is 400,000, and then the total work is 588. So we're paying the difference between the grant and the total contract with the engineer totaling 188. That's what the system development fees.
Have you given them any money out of the?
We have a motion second.
We're having discussion. Now I'm discussing. So what did, have we
Well,
paid them
don't
any
need
money
to-
now?
grant
You're
funds.
not a decision maker, so.
What do you mean I'm not a decision?
400,000 of it.
I wanna know how much we spent so far.
You don't have a vote, so let's move on.
Yeah, mate, we're not moving on that because we're having discussion. I want to know how much money we spent already with Ravenel. And how much
Point
money.
of order, please. We're moving on.
So you got a point of
Got a
order,
motion
so it's
second.
now back to the council to address the procedural motion before them. That has to be done.
I wish we could get a substitute motion to go back to where we can ask how much this is costing.
Motion second.
You can go ahead, you can get a
Second.
motion second. You got any discussion?
We've
All in
already done
favor of
that.
doing this?
Unanimous. Move on.
Next one's consideration of budget amendment number 15.
I believe that was just.
That was just to move on.
Point of order.
So that was the point of order. Now,
Okay.
we
Okay,
need
good,
to
yeah, you're right. Now we
substitute
go back and
motion.
vote, I'm sorry. I got a kidney stone, but I'm having a good time.
We're not.
There was a motion from Councilmember Smith to approve the grant project ordinance, and I think that's where the point of order came
That's
from.
right. So now we gotta go back and vote on the original
We just need
motion.
a second.
We just voted on the point of order, and now it's time to go back to the original.
Yep, to address Travis's motion, correct.
That is the last.
You did the point of order.
I second it.
It was unanimous.
And I made a motion to approve.
Prior to that.
5D.
Prior to that, and I'll second that motion.
What motion you approving?
5D.
5D? All right, you got a motion, second, any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, I guess. All right,
Start. My computer doesn't let me do all those motions.
All right.
So
So-
who did the point of orders? I need that.
Phil.
Phil. And the second?
Travis.
And then the actual, and then you did the order for.
I made the motion.
He made the motion to approve the amendment 5D,
And then you.
and then I second it, and then it was unanimous.
so we're spending money, right? Lots of it. All right, so we gotta go to the next one, which is 5E. Consideration of budget amendment number 15. Go ahead, Scott.
This is the budget amendment to fund that extra $188,000. There's some budgeted funds available right now that we, like I mentioned before, that we've received above the system development fee revenue, and this would appropriate the money to be able to pay that overage for the pre-con grant.
Who are you paying this 188,000
That goes to Withers Ravenel for the total contract of $588,000.
I make a motion, we approve the budget amendment number 15.
Second.
to? Any discussion? We're spending a lot of money. Any more discussion? All in favor? I guess it's unanimous.
I'd just like to say, moving forward, I would like those numbers, though, as far as the
I'll get those out to everybody.
Okay, the next item of business is 5. We have a public hearing for adoption of the fiscal year. We need a motion to go into public hearing and discuss the budget.
Make a motion, we go into public hearing for the adoption of fiscal year
Second.
2025.
Second, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you. I presented the draft city manager's budget message and budget ordinance and fiscal year 24-25 budget document at the May 14th, 2024 council meeting. So I won't belabor the proposed budget, just a few highlights of it. The recommended property tax rate is a 5.5 cent decrease down to 43.5 cents. A $2 decrease in stormwater fees per month per ERU, a 6% increase in water, and a 3% increase in sewer. And also, by the resolution approved last month, we have removed the $10 tag fee.
What is the amended thing you sent out today? What was that about?
I received information that certain council members would like to remove positions, a total of 6 positions. That is not my recommendation, but I produced a budget ordinance to that effect. If those positions were removed and the savings was to reduce the tax rate with that, that would bring the tax rate to 35.5 cents.
Mayor, I have a question. 5-minute recess on this, please.
You want to recess? You had a motion to have a recess. You have a second?
5-minute recess, please.
5-minute recess. You have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Good.
All in favor?
I'd rather move on myself, but
No, just give me 5. Good.
send it to a vote.
You got a motion and a second to a 5-minute recess. All in favor? All opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You got your 5-minute recess.
Are we in the middle of a public hearing? I mean, we should have took the recess prior to the public, opening up the public hearing. That'd be a question for the attorney. If we took a 5 minutes, do we have to wait 5 minutes?
No. The motion is technically to take a brief recess, so whenever the council is ready to resume, we can do that.
What call the meeting back to order. One back. Okay, we got a motion. One public hearing, correct? Is that correct?
Correct, you are in public hearing.
Still in public hearing. I'd like to hear about option B.
We're talking about the budget first, hey.
Right, he was, the budget he didn't recommend.
Who? I'm talking about the public hearing, we're in the budget ordinance, for the annual budget, which is, 5F, we're in a public hearing.
He's talking about the second budget that was provided today.
Yeah.
Still in the budget.
Councilman, I got you. So the positions that were asked to remove from this version of the budget was communications director position, the planner position, the police administrative assistant position, the accounts payable / payroll clerk position, the GIS analyst, and the utility billing clerk, commonly known as the second utility billing position. There's two individuals in there, so the second one. That, like I said, budget ordinance is available. That brings down the general fund revenue to $5.128,069. So I've brought the salaries out of there and the benefits related to those positions and adjusted down. With that, the levy in mind, the tax rate would be 35.5 cents. Nothing else changes much out of this budget versus my recommended budget, other than those 6 positions are removed. For example, the SIF is still funded to the amount. That answer any other questions you got on that?
So that took it down to a $531,000 difference. Thereabouts.
Yeah.
And I understand, I don't want to lose any positions, but if these developments where that was already here, I wouldn't have a problem keeping them. I know we need to plan for the future, but as of right now, when other revenue starts coming in, then yes, we can revisit that. That was my discussion on that.
Anyone else have any discussion on that part of the budget?
I don't agree with getting rid of the positions, but I also respect where you and other council members are coming from.
And on that, I'd just like to say, you know, I don't want to see anybody lose their job either. If you look at these 6 positions, they were created in the 23-24 budget. If you look back at the revenue for the 23-24 budget, in 23 it was $1.5 million. In 24 it went to $2.8 million because of reevaluation. 2.8, I mean, that's a huge step. And what we done was we created positions to expense that money. In my mind, we created positions to expense that money and not give the citizens. The county reduced the rate by 20 cents. We didn't reduce it any. We just created the positions. Even still, with the 5 positions missing, we're still at 2.3 million. And we're still almost $7 million, $700,000 over the year prior to. So
There's also something to note that, you know, the EDA started, so the EDA repayment to North Point, $500,000. And there's also the new fee schedule for the additional professional services line item that's paying out approximately $800 and something thousand this year in engineering from the new fee schedule from these new developments. So that was 900 and something coming in on revenue and 800 going out on the, in the admin budget on expenditures too, so.
yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the ad valorem taxes. Basically.
Okay.
And I'm not looking at expenditure, I'm just looking at the revenues.
Gotcha.
You're not even including the money from North Point to where we take it in and we send it back out.
Well, I think that's what.
We are, we have to account for it
I mean,
because they
how does
pay
it
their
get it
taxes.
back out?
And there's a separate line item showing the EDA payment going out.
think at the end of the day, we all know what's coming in, we all know what's going out. Is, do you want going out to reduce? And if you want going out to reduce, then you have to accept that you're going to reduce some services or something's going to fall down at some point in time. I respect everyone's opinion here and their, what they think needs to be done. I believe that it's going to cost more to do business. We are a business here. I think it's too deep. But you guys do what you got to do. I think we'll be seeing an increase next year.
Any more discussion? We have a motion to go out of public hearing.
Mayor, just
Do you want to ask
public.
if anyone from the public wants to?
Sure, anyone from,
comment?
anyone from the citizens, any of y'all like to make a comment on the budget? Just line up and we'll be glad to have you speak.
I respect everybody up there, and I respect why you want to cut several of the positions. And I do understand it, I get it. When I was on council, I didn't agree with all the positions. I wish you guys would think about the second utility clerk here in the water bill department. That's a lot of work up there. And I remember when the former employee was here, she never took vacation. She was out when she was sick, she came to work because she couldn't miss work, but she didn't want to miss work because she didn't want to have to be behind. So I think, that position, maybe you could keep, or maybe you could even create a part-time position. Up here, they get busy, and it's going to put a lot more work on other individuals in every department, if all of these jobs are cut. In payroll department, I think, Cheryl used to do the payroll, and I think it was in a prior audit or something that someone, I don't remember 100%, but I'm just going to throw it out there anyway, that job should have been split up, that Cheryl should not do the payroll and be the city clerk with all of her duties. So you might want to look at that one again. Like I said before, what you do now is going to affect the future. And then a couple years when things are here, these people are already in place and trained and moving forward, then you're going to have to rehire people. Who's going to want to come and work for Lowell? Look at all the chaos we've had in the first several months. And also then we're going to have to possibly 35.5 cents for tax rate. You're going to have to raise it again in a couple of years. And if you guys are on council, the new council coming in that has to raise it possibly, may not have to, but that's going to make them look bad. So you guys please think about that again.
Anyone else have a comment?
It's a tough decision on this sewer plant. Y'all gotta make the best decision you can to benefit the citizens all the way around. So it's not, you're not gonna make everybody happy in this town. So you try to make everybody happy, you're fighting a losing battle. You might as well give up. But I understand, I'm operations manager. Cutting positions out, cutting people 8 hours, that's a tough decision. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Scott, the city manager, I want to give you an award. Because what I've heard that you've done tonight, I'm very impressed. Okay, so I want to tell you, you're doing a good job, just from what I've been part of, okay? So we appreciate the hard work you do as a city manager, because I understand what you got to go through, because I agree with, I sometimes have to disagree with my manager, and sometimes I agree with my manager, but it's a hard decision. What this man's got to go through, I only got to fight one. He's got to fight all y'all, and that's a tough battle. So I want to, later on, I'll shake your hand if I leave, just to appreciate your hard work, okay? Sandy, call. Scott.
Bill Knox. Man, I wasn't planning on speaking here again, but I just think the citizens ought to know this. And guys, I'm a little bit taken back here. You went through 3 days of budget meetings. I was present for every minute of it. You finished up at 5.5 cent tax cut bulk every month. stormwater fee cut by $2. You really didn't cut it. You reappropriated it. And that was all Shane said they were going to do. He said, hey, look, I just want it down $2, I think was his quote. We could all live with that. That's no big deal. But now we had the budget was presented on the 14th of May, and now we're just hearing about this right now? Larry, this is the only time I've ever agreed with you. I've stood and watched you here every budget. I've lived here 6 years, and every time you say we got to go to an interim budget and think about this. I'm saying we got to go to an interim budget here and think about this. Might be a little bit too bold of a description, but I think you guys are gutting this here at 14 cents. You canceled the canine program. Fine, we all live with that. Cost the city about 10 grand. Only to say that you want to start it up with 2 dogs in a year or two. You can't start and stop. This is a pretty big object. You can't start and stop it on a dime. You've already run off a couple of good people. I think you're just doing too much too fast. That's a huge cut. Who are we above? Who's lower than us? You say you want to cut wasteful spending. This is just a frivolous point now at this point. Bulk pickup. It's going to cost, wear and tear and labor and $500 tip fee. It's going to cost money. Who needs more than bulk pickup every 3 months? Who really needs to do that? Stormwater fee, that was tough. Now, I am open to correction if you were able to work it out to where it's really a $2 cut. I'm open to correction. But if it wasn't a $2 cut and you're just moving some labor over into the general fund and the general fund's picking it up, you're painting the tape. It's not really, it just looks good. It's something to say, hey, I cut the stormwater fee by $2. Now, maybe y'all work that out down the road. But 2 months after the budget meeting and y'all are dropping this on us? I asked the city attorney, do we get any time to digest this? Last thing, the fire department. Y'all ran on bringing the fire department back. You need to level with the citizens and just tell them straight up, the fire department's not coming back. Larry, stop using that as a wedge about how the previous council sold the fire department out to the county. Stop doing that. They went on their own accord. So stop that. The fire department's not coming back. They can tell you why and how. But I was very encouraged by the beginning of the meeting, and this is nothing personal at all. I just think you're going too far too fast, and you're putting yourself in the corner next year and the year after. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
Paul Williams, 703 McAdenville Road. If there's positions that are vacant right now, there's wisdom in not filling those. But to cut staff, I think is risky. What are we going to lose by cutting staff? I see it on Facebook all the time. People complain all the time about paying their water bills. What's involved with paying their water bills? Why is this? Why is that? If we cut our utility billing department in half, I can't fathom the chaos that's going to cause. In my opinion, it's going to add a lot of extra work. And the good people that we already have may move into burnout and go, you know what? I'll take $1 an hour cut. I'm going to McAdenville, or I'm going to Randall, or I'm going to another town. We need to hang on to the talent we have so that we can continue to function well. Andy had a suggestion, could any of these positions be moved to part-time? At least you're not cutting talent completely. But those employees may not be interested in part-time. So don't get me wrong, as a citizen and a taxpayer, lowering tax rate sounds amazing. Unfortunately, the county disappointed us. They didn't cut it like we had hoped. But I love the idea of a cut, but I don't like the idea of a cut if it's going to cost us a well-operated city. So I appreciate every one of you guys. Thank you for what you do. It's a thankless job, but I would ask you to carefully consider how deep we can cut our budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other citizen like to speak? All right, we need a motion, I guess, to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close public hearing?
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. All right, I guess the next thing will be to adopt the budget or whatever y'all like to do.
I'll make a motion to adopt the original 2024-25 annual budget with no cuts to employees.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Thank you. I guess we need a motion.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda, option B.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? All right, thank you. Thank you. So the next thing on the agenda.
What is?
Okay, the next item.
Option B, where's it say option B?
The next item, 6A, consideration to approve the audit contract with physical year ending June the 30th. Have a motion for that. Or you want to take it, Scott?
No, Mayor, we just need a motion.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the audit contract for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. The next thing is 6B, consideration of the ordinance 2-2024 to allow reserve police officer, auxiliary police officer department. Go ahead, Scott.
This is a carryover from, this is a carryover from our previous month as well. We've sent out the reserve policy that the chief put in place. So this is just ordinance number 2-2024 to adopt that. League of Municipalities had requested an ordinance to show that we had done that before, and we had not ever done an ordinance for this reserve program.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2-2024 to allow for reserve police officer, auxiliary police officer department.
You have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Unanimous? Thank you. All right.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
What's wrong?
Cheryl sketched up.
I'm
Please,
sorry. Excuse me, I apologize.
Mr. Chitwood was second on that.
Y'all ready? We're ready to move on? Okay, the 6C, adoption, the consideration of adopting water and sewer capital improvement plan, CIP.
Yes, Mayor, we went over this in previous meetings, and this is the final version of it. This is the update to the water and sewer CIP. I typically bring this to the council every couple years, but here lately with a lot of the appropriations coming and things changing with funding and grants, I think it necessitates an update. And I'll answer any questions that you all have on this.
Council have any questions? Just need a motion to adopt. Have a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you, unanimous.
I did. Heard it.
At this point, excuse me, Mr. Manager, do you need instruction on how to move from here on this? You want some guidance on moving forward? Do you need that, or do you got what you need to?
On
They adopted a CIP.
CIP?
plan.
No.
In moving, okay.
Voted on that, yes. All right, then the next thing is consideration of budget amendment number 16, page 204, 205, Scott.
All right, this begins the list of many text amendments. 16, what we're starting with, we're going to end at 24. So this first one is for $3,997.50 workers' compensation safety grant. We've utilized that grant for the secured access at police and city hall.
So you've already got the money, right? Have you already gotten the money?
Correct.
Okay, so we just need a motion to cover it, right?
This is to
Put it
approve
to
budget
change the
amendment number
budget
16.
amendment, yes. Need a budget amendment, need a motion.
Motion to approve budget amendment number 16, I'm sorry.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Next item will be 6C, consideration of budget amendment number 17.
Yes, this one is to accept the pre-construction planning grant as revenue, the $343,432 that we mentioned earlier in the meeting, and to increase the treatment plant professional services. So it's an incoming from the grant, outgoing to pay for the work of the grant.
All right, you have a motion to amend the budget.
Make a motion, we amend number 17, make a budget amendment number 17.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Consideration of budget amendment number 18, Scott.
18, this begins several of these where when we moved the city's bank accounts to a new banking institution, we're receiving a lot more interest. So this is appropriating that interest for balanced budget requirement in North Carolina, this budget amendment. So this is interest earned from the PAL bill, $31,460, and appropriating that in PAL bill. Now, a lot of these coming up with this interest, we're appropriating the revenue, we're receiving the revenue, we're just appropriating expenditure, not to be spent though in the next 20-something days of the rest of this fiscal year. At the end of the fiscal year, it will roll into fund balance. And then there is a fund balance tool from the budget ordinance that says anything above 50% of your fund balance, automatically we can transfer it to the community investment fund.
Yeah,
So
you have to have a state requires you to put that in a state, in a savings of some type. According to what I got today from the North Carolina Department of State Treasury, anytime you reach a certain point, it goes into a savings account.
Yeah.
And that's why we have about 10 of them. All right, go ahead and have a motion and second. Any more discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve budget amendment number 18.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? And then 6G, consideration of budget amendment number 19.
This is more interest in the general fund, $160,400 appropriated across the general fund, numerous departments on supplies.
That's money coming into the city?
Yes, this is,
Now, what fund, what savings account would that come from?
I don't have the exact account. This MRS and interest investments account from the general fund.
That's the capital, from capital, right? MS Capital Management?
This isn't the
not a
SCIF
true-
capital grant, the
Is it
SIF fund.
Is it a Truist account or a capital management account?
This is not Truist, this is First Horizon, isn't it?
Okay, well, I'm just saying you're getting 5% interest, I guess, right?
Thereabouts.
That's good. Anything we can bring money in, not cost money, that's great. All right, have a motion to adopt this?
Make a motion.
Have a second?
Go ahead, Scott, make the motion.
Make a motion.
I'll
to-
make the second.
Okay, you can second.
That's it, that's what you get to.
Who made the motion?
You made the motion.
I made the motion.
Bill seconded.
That was amendment number what?
It's 19.
That's what I thought. Okay, got a motion, second, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. 6H, consideration of budget amendment number 20.
20 is interest investments in the water and sewer fund, $56,690, appropriating that across the contracted services, water, and the sludge disposal. And mentioned in that memo, utilizing these for the sewer main lift, asphalt repairs due to water leaks, repairs to the lift stations, and for the sludge removal project that we did at the wastewater treatment plant when we replaced the aerators at the bottom of the tank. Some of the work that we've had to do for the, and I'll mention this in my manager's comments, from the tornadoes coming through on some of the lift stations, some of that will be reimbursed too.
That's the budget amendment number 20, right?
We're on 20, yes.
Have a motion to adopt this.
Make a motion, we adopt
Have a second.
budget number 20.
Have a second.
Second.
Chitwood made the motion, Bates second, any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. We'll go to number 6H, consideration of budget amendment number 21.
All right, this is for stormwater, interest gain, $14,200, going supplies on the offsetting, $14,200.
Have a motion to adopt budget amendment number 21.
Make a motion to adopt the budget amendment 21.
Second.
Second. Who seconded?
Me.
Okay. Bates, motion, Chitwood second, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Consideration of budget amendment number 22. Go ahead, Scott.
This is from the SCIF grant. This is the grant that we had the $2 million for the chemical plant demolition. That has gained interest of $48,200, so leaving that in that account and professional services for any future work that you want to do there. That's number 22.
That is the DQ money, is that what that is? The DQ money? That we
That's
got
the
from
direct
Torbit?
funding from,
Torbit?
yes.
Okay, do we have a motion to adopt?
Make a motion, we adopt budget amendment number 22.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, and you're saying we got how much money in that, Scott? It was down to like 20,000, and now you're saying we're back up to 68,000?
Yeah, I think it was, what it was gonna be down to is more like a couple thousand, 2,000.
Now the interest came in, we're up to
Yeah,
60.
now we're sitting around 50 in there.
All right, I'd like to, it's not, I guess we could vote on this now, but.
Yeah, we
I-
can. We can vote on it.
I'm talking about, I'd like to see, where we can take bids to paint that old block building out there out of this money. And I'm sure everyone's seen it, it's pitiful. It would make a big improvement just to get that graffiti painted out there. But that's for another time, I guess, unless y'all want to vote on it tonight. We got money to do it, but it's up to y'all.
That's for another time. Let's move on, please.
Okay, got a motion, a second. Who made the motion? On number 22?
I made the motion.
Who seconded?
I did.
Scott seconded, all right. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. All right, then 6K, consideration of budget amendment number 23. Go ahead, Scott.
City cemetery funds, this account, this is a total of $2,560 from interest gained for this cemetery fund account.
This is the old cemetery fund account, right? From years
Yes.
ago? That's good.
Yes, of $2,560.
Well, thank you. We have a motion to put this money in the bank.
Make a motion. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Make a motion for budget amendment 23.
Have a-
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Scott, seconded by Mr. Smith. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you, unanimous. 6L, consideration of budget amendment number 24. Go ahead, Scott.
Yes, this is from the North Carolina Capital Management Trust. Interest, $18,750 to be appropriated into the sanitation automotive supplies. We have an upcoming repair on one of the cylinders. I think it's one of the large cylinders on the new trash truck, and it has to be completely replaced. So we'll deplete the auto supply line item in there likely, and this will help make sure we're under budget.
Have a motion to adopt 6L amendment number 24.
Make a motion to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Bates, second by
Second.
Mr. Chidwell. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. I think that takes care of all those. All right, City Manager, you have any reports tonight?
A few things. Let's see here. I've sent out the pavement inventory analysis to you all. Kind of wanted to get an idea if that's something you all want to put on the July agenda to prioritize some projects, or if you just give me the rough direction to get some quotes on some of the highest ranking critical areas of the city. And just wanted to see how you all wanted to go forward with that project.
I think we need to move forward with it, and I think getting quotes for the higher priority.
Do we want to just put it on the agenda and discuss the areas maybe that you all want to see on a quote? I know that's how it was handled about 3 years ago, last time we did this.
I'd like to see it on the agenda too.
Okay. All right. That's good.
Okay.
All right.
Have anything else, Scott?
Next, Public Works facility, funded through the Community Investment Fund up at the old chemical plant. We went through this in the work sessions. Where are we at with that? Do you want me to get drafting a request for qualifications for design to get this process moving?
Do you have a grant for it now, or is this a projection of getting a grant, or we have the money?
Well, that's why we're allocating a certain amount of every budget to the Community Investment Fund so that we can pay the debt payments for
You'd
it.
be taking money out of the general fund to do that, not out of grant money, but out of the general fund.
We do not have a grant to build public works
So you'd
right
be
now.
taking money out of the general fund to do what you want to do.
In our Community Investment Fund, yes.
Now, let me ask, just like the interest that we just done through all these budget amendments, is that something that can be used towards payment? Or the,
yeah, kind of.
Like, any interest that comes in, can that be put towards the payment of?
I think any interest that you could have done that in the budget ordinance, for example, that any interest above the budgeted amount automatically rolls to the SIF to then fund the debt payments for, that's kind of how it's set up roughly anyway with the 50% rule of the fund balance reserve, right? Anything, if we get 51 in there, we transfer that 1% to the SIF fund. And so it's happening anyway. But there's certainly certain rules and tools you can set up to make certain revenue funds go directly in there.
Do you have an estimate of how much it's going to cost to build a public works building up there?
$4 million, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we had on our
We spent $20,000.
stuff from our work sessions, Mayor.
So the total is like $4 million to build it. And, you know, if you take this, you know, money, which is good, we're taking in an interest, but it goes back into the general fund, it can be used for anything pertaining to the general fund. But that would be something that the council would have to vote on to use that money for wherever.
Yep, so
whether it be on that or not.
what I'm asking is, would you all like me to get working on requests for qualifications to bring to you all to approve those qualifications to kind of get that process started to recruit a design firm to help getting this moving? I know we had one firm come and speak to you all at the work session about the different ways, the traditional bid and the construction manager at risk and a design build. So there's different options that you all can do, and we can work that out later, but do we want to get the ball rolling on that facility? Because the need of the facility is still here, and I just wanted to get through the budget and see where we're at with.
I think absolutely we need to move forward and get that ball rolling. I mean, it's a need for the city.
Do we need a motion for direction for you?
Just the head nods will do if that's something we need.
Consensus, straw poll?
I'm gonna let you, I mean, you all are approving the RFQ. I'm gonna just let staff assist me and we're gonna work getting it done and bring it to you all in the July.
Your estimate to do this is $4 million, correct? To have to complete the public works building, $4 million.
We don't know that for a fact, but that's what our estimate from our master plan is. Yes, sir.
I think that, I mean, you'll have a straw poll, but you can vote or whatever. I think the best thing would be for us to do is try to go back to Torbett, and since he's got this ball rolling down the hill.
I think really we're petitioning, we're making all the applications that we possibly can. I think that the more we resist and the more we do as a city collectively and bucking back on the way to do things makes our case harder. So I think right now, what we got is the best we're gonna get based on, what we're getting from, our mayor and so on and so forth. So, I would encourage you to move forward with that. If the rest of the council disagrees with that, please speak up.
On a note that Mr. Simon said about Torbett, Mr. Attaway sent an email out and said that the funds is starting to, say it again how it was, but I can't say it I see it in my head how it was said that the funds are not.
They're shrinking.
They're shrinking, that was the word. Yeah, they're drying up, so it's going to be few and far between to get extra funds. I believe I said that, I know I told Mr. Attaway that, yeah, I would like to see something done with this public works, the eyesore that's around here.
And Councilman, we submitted, when I submitted the direct funding request this year, that was in there. City Hall Police, remember we went over that in a council meeting. Do you want me to do all of these or some of these? And no, I asked for all of them. So that's where.
I think the citizens originally, this thing started taking place, they're gonna build a park, all kinds of stuff, public works and all that crap down there. But there's gonna be a grant money, and I would never vote to spend a dime over there because of the way the property is, the chemicals, and, if you paint the building and get rid of the graffiti, that would be a step in the right direction. As far as taking taxpayers' money and moving our public works up there, I don't see it in the near future, maybe down the road, like Shane and I was talking about a while ago, once things start to grow and you see more things come in, you have more tax money coming in, then you set it and do a little bit of stage at a time, rather than just saying, we could take $25,000, you might get, I don't think you get the plans for that. Have you already got the plans for it?
Well, I mean,
that's what the heart of
that's what we're trying to do.
Trying to give him a yes or no.
You can't really nickel and dime it like you're suggesting that we do. You have an opportunity now to move forward and do some things with low interest loans and some funding that's available for us to use for this type of project. And I think you need to be, there's no question that it needs to be done. We have the dirt available to put it on, so now's the time to move. Outside of that, I mean, there's really no discussion time with that. If we want to do it, yes. If we don't want to do it, the council says we don't want to do it, that's fine too. But if you're going to move, now's the time to move. We'll keep down the road.
It's up to the council to move
we
it on.
can do that too.
I got the direction, so I'm good on that one. Update on the recreation center, the old Boys and Girls Club. We're having our surveillance, secured access, and burglar installed today, this week. We'll be there most of the week getting that installed. I'm gonna hand to you, and then we'll have it on the July agenda, an MOU proposal from the Gaston County Family YMCA for youth athletics in Lowell. This is just for youth athletics in Lowell. I suppose the next thing would be fall soccer, youth soccer, once the kids are back in school. So we'll bring that forward on the July agenda. We've been talking about doing a partnership with them and letting them run the youth athletics, and that's how the budget reflects it without showing expenditures and revenue on those athletic line items. Meeting this Thursday with North Carolina Department of Public Safety again to assist in the public assistance request from the tornadoes. Mentioned that briefly earlier. We're still going to be requesting from all the loads of debris, which I believe, Thad, we're finally getting to the normal brush route, back to the normal brush route, and have hit everywhere in the city. And that's all I have.
Do you have a website or somewhere the citizens can go and get help, ones that don't have insurance, they got all this property damage? Do you have somewhere they can reach out to and get some help?
I mean, at NCDPS and the county emergency
You made
management,
that
we can connect them.
on Lowell's website to let the citizens know how to try to acquire this money or get some help?
We will do that. Yeah, we can add that.
I appreciate it. Mr. Attorney, you have anything?
I do not.
Thank you. Shane, do you have anything?
I do not.
Scott?
Yeah, I just got one question for you, Mr. Riley. And if you don't have the information, I understand in front of you. Going back to, there's been some discussions, I know, especially on social media, about this ARPA money. Was ARPA money actually used to buy the property, the church property and stuff? Or was that allocated towards salaries? Was the ARPA money moved to the salaries and used to pay salaries? And then in return, the salaries is what paid for the property?
Yeah,
I know it washes out,
It's
it's all
supplanting.
equals.
You're right.
But the ARPA money was used for salaries, not to purchase the real property.
Yeah, that's how the U.S. Treasury gave us the guidance that we could use it for certain things on revenue replacement. We opted to put it across different departments in the salaries. Then you take, so you got $500,000 in salaries in this department, you're needing that $500,000, you put the ARPA money in, you pull out the salary money, or, you know, yeah, like I said.
get it. It's not dollar
it
for
washes.
dollar.
Yeah.
It washes, but
Yeah.
I want the citizens to realize what they were being told was ARPA money bought the property, the church property and the Salvation Boys and Arms Club. Not correct, as far as what I just gathered from you, right?
Kind of potato.
Potato,
really.
but you,
Yeah.
I mean, you used ARPA money
Yeah.
to
The
pay
fact
the
that is,
salaries.
it didn't come out of, really, if you want to drill it down, coming out of taxpayer dollars.
Right,
No.
it all washes out,
No, it came
but
from
when
this
you,
bucket.
when you pay salaries are paid from taxpayers.
Sure.
Correct.
I see what you're saying.
So if
It's-
you taking money from salaries to purchase this property, then yeah, it's the way I see it, it's taxpayers' money.
I understand.
It all washes out, the money's there, and nothing's missing, not accusing
There's
anything like that, I just want
everything's up
to kind of wash the board and be done to let the citizens know how it was actually done.
Exactly.
And that's it. But and on another note, I'd like to thank the citizens that come out, even the ones that are watching. It's, when I worked here before, there was very few people come to the meetings, which was kind of sad, that more people didn't get them. But I'd like to thank all the citizens for coming out and listening and speaking and getting involved with us, with the city. Thank you.
Have anything else?
No, sir.
Mr. Chitwood?
Oh, no, yeah, again, thanks to the employees again. It's a hard decision. The decision that was made tonight was given to Mr. Attaway several weeks ago for an option B. So I want that to be known. Now, Mr. Bates and Mr. Robinson spoke about it to him last month. So he said that he was going to get option A and option B. He gave the recommended budget that he wanted. I understand that. But we wanted that because when the future growth comes, when we've got all these businesses or these developments that's coming, we've got a close to an $18 million project that's coming up on Ash Street that's coming in the near future, according to one of the developers that I spoke to personally. And so when that comes in, that more revenue tax comes in, I'm all for revisiting those jobs coming back. But again, appreciate y'all coming out. And like one person said, I can't remember which one of them said it a minute ago, you're not going to please everybody. We try to please everybody, but you can't please everybody. I believe that was Sandy that said that.
Go ahead, Mr. Bond, have you anything? I'm sorry, you have anything else?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Bond. Mr. Smith?
I just want everybody to know, we don't agree on things, but we do speak with each other. I've spoken with Bates many a times, Chitwood. I haven't talked to Shane personally yet, but I mean, we don't agree on things and we're not going to, but we do have somewhat of good communication with each other, and we know what's going on before these meetings. We don't just come in here with the 177-page packet and just go at it. I mean, we study. And I just want y'all to know that.
There's respect for each other.
We have respect for each other. We may not show it sometimes, and we're working on that. And then one other little thing for you, Scott. I've been asked about the clock out front. Getting the time.
Mr. Hallman called us. There's a few people that still know how to work on that clock, and Thad has reached out to him and tracking down what he needs for him and his electrician to come assist us with that. And pretty soon, if something goes awry with that plan, there's a retrofit available for that we'll have to discuss.
Okay, I didn't know it had already been discussed. I've just had a couple people.
It's kind of a sore subject. No, we're working on it.
Okay, thank you.
We appreciate Mr. Hallman reaching out to help us too. Yeah.
And again, thank the citizens for coming out.
I apologize, Mr. Mayor, just a second. Just don't forget the request that I had from one of the citizens about the name on the memorial, just if you let me know about that.
Yeah, I want to reiterate everything you said. I'm glad people come out. I don't keep you mad at me, love me, or hate me. I love all of you. I feel so bad about every time we leave here. And what really tears me out of the frame is how much I love our old soldiers and all the old people that I was around all my life, and Mr. Blackwell, all of them, church, your father, and all the people. And what tears me out of the frame, we don't even have a sign up for D-Day. I go out and buy one and put it up that morning. I'm not bragging on myself. But I don't want it taken down until after July the 4th, because I want to show appreciation for all our soldiers and people that died for us. So we're not speaking German. Can you imagine if D-Day hadn't happened, if it would have been a day, maybe a week later, who knows what would have happened? But I'm so proud of our military, and I'm so proud of our citizens. And I'm not proud of everyone. I've got a kidney stone, I'm not proud of that, but I do love y'all, and I want us to go forward and leave here tonight and understand this. No one understands how to run this city 100%. We have to depend on other people, but here's the bottom line. You have to be able to afford to live here, and once the growth comes, I think you're going to see it, that where these houses will be built, and hopefully they'll do what they say they're going to do and bring revenue in. So we haven't even reaped the benefit of what's already been built. We don't see that in our budget, but we will after October when we adopt the audit. And all these, I went out today, and everybody says, Larry, you're crazy. I agree with that. That's not late-breaking news. But I wanted to find out one time how much money that the city of Lowell had. And I tried to get it from the town hall, but they said that, they're busy or whatever. But I don't quit. And I took my time, and I'm learning how to use this computer, believe it or not. I'm dumb as a box of rocks, but I love to try. But anyway, I found out today from the North Carolina Department of Treasury that we have a lot of money. This town has a lot of money in different funds. If people could come together and see the whole bottom line as to what we have and how we could utilize this, and I don't mean to say it in the wrong way, but when you have a sewer system that's paid for, and you're only using half capacity, and you have to look around, I understand that y'all try to make it like that things are going to be so rough down the road, and we're going to have to do this. But as long as that plant's working, and we pay the taxpayers, the old people that live here, that's all their burden, that's on their backs. You know that. And now we're going to be going in debt for a lot of money. And I want us just to make the right decision. I'm not saying that I'm right either. And let's just do some figuring and look at how these other towns look as far as Cramerton and Randlow and all of them. They're on that Two Rivers program. But they didn't have to give up this kind of money. I don't know why we're having to spend so much money to give our plant stuff away. That's my question. If they would come in, like I told in that meeting, if they would come in and pay for this and take over the plant and keep our fees where we can afford it, that's well and good. If they need us that bad, and it's going to help them that bad, they ought to have to put something in it too. And that's my opinion. And I want to reiterate what Scott and Audrey said. Thank you to all the citizens. I'm talking about the ones that's home, the ones that love me, hate me. I don't care. I'm just glad that people come out. This is a blessing to see people to come out and take their time to come to these meetings, because that's what government's about. And thank y'all for coming out. And I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? 7 people in favor. Thank you. Good night. $5. What carried up that $50?